All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 17 with my guest, Ryan Ripken. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting a little bit.
All right, yeah, no problem, man. So, usually at the start of the podcast, I usually get a little bit of a get to know you for everybody else, but I think your last name speaks for it all. But do you think you could kind of give a little bit to what people may not know about you?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Ryan Ripken. For those who don't know, my uncle is Billy, and then you guys might know my dad used to play. His name is Cal, that's just my dad and my uncle. But I currently I play in the Orioles organization. I finished in Double A a couple of years ago, right before COVID, and just continuing my career as a professional baseball player, and just making my name for myself, and going through the grind of just like a lot of other players who are in my situation, just trying to work our way up and hopefully be in the big leagues. So that's kind of my story a little bit in a nutshell.
So, what is it like for you though, having a family like you do, like having Cal as your dad, Bill as your uncle, and Cal Senior as your grandfather? Was it like having everybody like that in your family to help you grow so much more in your baseball career than probably any others do?
Um, you know, just kind of going back with it's a very unique, circumstance or situation. I was very lucky and blessed to have uh, a family that was so invested in the game that they love, and to be able to have a career out of that. So with my grandfather being able to be such a staple in the coaching and the development of the Orioles specifically, and then my uncle and my dad being able to play. Not many people have that opportunity to have that, that longevity and to make that into a career. But first and foremost, they're just my family members. So they, uh, they were my uncle, my dad, and my grandfather, really first and foremost. And especially with my dad, that's all it was. It was just my father. And when you grow up, you don't, and I'm sure a lot of people look at it, you look up to your parents, right? So when you look up to them, and my dad, when I was growing up, he was finishing his career. I was going, wow, I want to play baseball. I want to be like my dad. And you think that, that's kind of the normal job. As you get older, you kind of figure out that's not really the case. Not everyone gets the opportunity to play baseball. So they've had a ton of knowledge, though, on the baseball side, ton of knowledge and things to work with, and extremely grateful for that. But first and foremost, I'm just happy to have them, in my lives as my family members.
So, so yeah, kind of lost where I was going real quick. So, um, do people ever come up to you talking about you being part of that family, or do you just let them do what they want to do, talk about it, and you just let your game do what you want to do?
Yeah, there's no running from the name and talking about what's been accomplished with my family members, and in particular my dad, just because I am his son, and he had a great career. And my uncle as well. My uncle played for over 10 years in the major leagues, and they had a lot of their own success, but I'm really proud of what they did. And I understand a lot of people especially got to grow up and watch that and really appreciate that. And even my grandfather coaching, that's when people talk about, the old Oriole way and all these things. I really appreciate hearing the stories. But for me, I'm just trying to be Ryan Ripken, and I just want to be known for myself, about how I carry myself on and off the field, and just try to be the best player that I can be. And, at the end of the day, if I make it and have a successful career, great. But if not, I will be satisfied knowing I did the things, the best that I could do. And, that's all I can really ask for. But, especially the Ripken name being involved with baseball, it's something that's not going to go away, especially for people that followed the sport for a while.
So he did kind of bring up, like, if you don't make a great career out of this, it's whatever, you tried your best. So many people have different opinions about this, but do you see that being like the best thing for you is that going out and doing your best and whatever happens out of it happens as long as you do your best?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, there are things that you can control and things you can't control. So the things you can't control sometimes is the opportunities that you're going to get, what's going on. So as you're moving up through the minor leagues, you want to hope that you get every opportunity. But the reality is you might not. There might be guys that are playing, maybe could be playing better than you, or maybe that there's just guys that are ahead of you, right? So there's that component. Then you also have to stay healthy and you have to have everything kind of come in place if that's the case. Um, but what you can control is on a day-to-day basis, what are you going to do? Are you going to go, you're going to go get your workouts in, you're going to get your training done, you're going to focus on what you can control, and that is getting better each and every day. And so for me, especially, whether in the off season, because it starts off season and carries into the season, is that dedication that you have. Because I think the worst thing you can have is looking back, wondering if you could have done more or put more of your effort in. And to me, that's the bigger regret to have. You can have frustrations and think, man, if I had more opportunities here, maybe I did this, or maybe, or if you're looking at things that you can't control that bother you, I'm okay with that. But I would have a hard time with myself knowing, well, did I not make it because it wasn't talented enough for the opportunity, or is there always going to be that doubt in your mind that you didn't put your best effort forward? And I think you owe it to yourself and whatever you do to put your best effort forward and to know if it doesn't work out, and that's okay. And it's okay to fail too. And I think failure is also a great learning component as well. But you owe it to yourself uh, to go out there and give the best you can. And you shouldn't feel ashamed one way or the other as long as you know you did your best.
All right. So I want to move ahead to your draft year, 2014, getting drafted by the Washington Nationals out of junior college. What is that feeling like when you're getting ready to put your career into a bigger picture, like starting pro ball?
It was a really exciting time. You always want to start or for me, when I realized I had opportunities, or it seemed like I have an opportunity to get drafted, it was exciting because you wanted to start your next step to continue on to your goal, to make it to the major leagues. So getting drafted by the Nationals, I was super excited, and they are a great organization. I have nothing but great things to say about them. They gave me my first opportunity, and so that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, things didn't work out the way. I had a few injuries to start my career, and it was hard for me to kind of get going. But I was grateful to get it going, and I have a lot of great memories and great experiences from it. But it was, um, I'll never forget the feeling of getting the call and then officially signing with them.
So how difficult is it of a transition though from going to junior college to then going into the Gulf Coast League or uh, low A ball? How difficult of a transition is that for most guys?
Well, I think honestly, it's the bigger part when everyone gets drafted, everyone has talent. Everyone's coming in, whatever round you're taking in, you're being taken because you have talent. Now, the hard thing is when you move forward is learning how to make quicker adjustments. For me personally, mentally, I was I felt more anxious. I was thinking a little bit too much, and then that kind of uh, hurt my physical performance, and that's a big thing. Sometimes a lot of players get in their own heads. I've seen some guys that um, I've seen some really talented players. For example, I saw a pitcher that could, was throwing 95, 97 miles an hour, and he had tremendous stuff. Um, Seeing him in junior college and then going into professional baseball, and his problem wasn't that he had that he didn't have the talent or the stuff to be a great pitcher. Just mentally, something was there that was blocking him, and it was having a hard time for him to make adjustments. So I think that's really kind of the biggest part, because and also as you keep moving up or as you move into professional baseball, everyone has talent, and as you keep moving, guys are more consistent, and that's something that you need to try to strive to get better at, is how can I be consistent? How can I get more consistent each time? And how can I make more adjustments on the fly?
How much of a mental game is this sport that most people really don't see? Like, so many guys start to treat it like a business, but then once they go back to figure out why they started to play baseball in the first place, that's when they start having fun again, and that's when they start to do good again. How much of a mental game is it? How much does that impact somebody like you had brought up?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I wish I had thought more about growing up when I was in, and you brought up a good point. When you start baseball, when you play the game, you're not playing it to say I'm doing it for the money. You're playing it because you love the game. You love the sport. You love to go out there every day. Now, as you move up, yes, things do become more of a business. All the professional sports and even college sports, they have a business model. Now, college is different than the pros, obviously, the structures, but things become more of a business, and some things change, and that's a hard thing for people to adjust to. But I think the bigger part too is when you get going, that baseball is the only sport where you have so much failure on a daily basis, essentially. If for a hitter, if you fail 7 out of 10 times, so if you have a hit 3 of your 10 at bats, you are one of the best players. And that's a crazy thing to think about. So that's 70% of the time, if you are one of the best players, you're failing. And in no other sport do you have that type of um, failure rate, or have that success rate for that matter. So those things, I think that's the hardest thing, is that every day in, day out, you got to understand that you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, and things aren't going to go your way. But especially in long seasons, and in the minors it's 140 games, and the majors 162. How can you keep yourself from letting go of bad days, continuing to grind through the process, and then when things are going well, try to ride it out? Um, and I brought up before that everyone has talent when you get into the professional baseball. Everyone's there for a reason, but the way you can move up is how can you keep your emotions in check? How can you make adjustments on the fly? And how can you not get too high and not get too low? So it's a mental struggle. It really is. And it doesn't feel good when, say, you haven't gotten a hit in five or six games, and you're thinking about, man, sometimes you feel like you just want to jump off a cliff. You're so frustrated. You feel so beaten. How do you fight that? And it's hard. It's really, really hard. But at the same time, it's a great learning thing. You help learn yourself a lot how to deal with failure and to deal with adversity.
So speaking of that a little bit, so you did bring up when you were with the Nationals, it didn't really go your way with them, and you get released, but then you get picked up by the Orioles after that release process, and then get picked up again, and especially especially being picked up by the Orioles, who you have so many family connections with. What's it like getting picked up by them?
Well, so I was hearing from a few teams during that process, and um, you know, I didn't really know what to think. So first off, when you get released and you don't really feel great about the experience, and to be honest, I completely understood why. I underperformed, I was hurt, and I just, things weren't coming together. It just didn't work out. But I believed that I had the talent, right? I believed I had things. So you're hoping you're going to get another opportunity. So of the teams that I talked to, the Orioles seemed to give me the best opportunity to get back on my feet. And I was nervous about coming to the Orioles, to be honest, because of the name, because of the connection there, and I didn't want that to hinder that. And I thought, would that add too much pressure? Uh, but to be honest, it turned out being kind of the opposite. I felt at home when I came to the organization. They didn't treat me any differently. I went in, got my work in, but they gave me a chance to reset, and that's something that I'm extremely grateful for. And it helped me get myself back on track. And fortunately enough, then I think I signed with them in 2017. So to still be with them and moving up uh, has been great, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of the organization.
So, so I got a chance to see your stats, and compared to the Nationals to them being with the Orioles organization, there's such a big difference, especially in your batting average, and then also seeing so many RBIs that you tallied in. What was the biggest change for you positively between organizations with seeing so much more progress from you?
You know, um, it kind of still goes back to that mental frame of mind, right? So when I started with the Nationals, my first my first 2 years, the first year and a half with them, I dealt with an ankle injury. So I heard it about 2 or 3 weeks after I signed in 2014, and then I re-injured it in spring training the following year. So I missed all this time, and then when I finally was, healthy in 2016, I still had some lingering effects for the injury, but mentally I wasn't in a good place. And I couldn't make adjustments. I was in my head a lot, and I had some other things going on. But that to me, I was so mentally defeated that I couldn't make adjustments. And so when I came to the Orioles and could reset, I was able to try to find myself, work on a couple of things. And then when I went to Aberdeen to start, I meshed really well with the coaches there, and I had a great hitting coach there that helped me work on mindset and working on my approach. So my mechanics for my swing were feeling terrible, but he kept pushing on my approach. My approach. What am I looking for in my bats? Trust yourself, stay disciplined, and um, that really seemed to be a turning point for me. And then as I gained more confidence with my mechanics over the next year and a half, 2 years, leading up to going to Frederick, things started to come together. Now I had a little injury when I played with Frederick and Bowie, but the mindset for me really changed. And when my mindset got better, I was able to then everything could kind of start to come together, which was really cool. So I'm constantly learning, but it definitely you're right. The numbers for me are very drastic, and I really do believe that my best ball is yet to come, and that's just the way that of where I've gotten lifted out of. And um, you know, I keep preaching this, but the mindset, if your mind, if you're not there and you're not with it, talent can only take you so far. So that's something I continue to work on, every day, off season and during season.
All right. So, what was it like for you to be able to carry on your family's legacy after everything that they did and now having your name being out there still? Was it like still kind of carrying on that legacy?
You know, um, like I said, I just try to be Ryan. I am very super proud of my family, and it's really cool to see, kind of the lineage of what my family has done. And I think when everything's said and done for me, I will think even more about it, and but I am proud that I guess to be another one of the Ripkins to try to make a name in baseball. Um, but the bigger goal for me right now, like I love my family. I'm so proud of them, but I'm just trying to be Ryan, and that's what I want that to be first and foremost. And I think if I can do that, because that's what they did, they tried to be their own person, and instead of trying to compare and be, you know, live up to the legacy or live up to something, they didn't think about that when they were doing it. They were sort of thinking about, how can I be the best player? How can I try to be the best version of myself? So I'm just that's something I'm trying to follow, uh, and then hopefully see where the chips fall with how people view all that.
I mean, like that's something that's so impressive about you is that you have such a historic last name, and that you don't let it get to you. Like a guy like Mariano Rivera's son, Mariano Rivera Jr. When he got drafted by the Nationals, he had literally said he doesn't want to be remembered by that. He wants to be remembered by himself, but he got so much caught in his head that he just stopped. You didn't hear his name again. Do you think
Yeah, yeah.
with
Go ahead.
having the last name you have has to have a bigger mental aspect, like better capability to deal with it?
Yeah, so it's challenging, right? And so there's a lot of great things to have a parent that or a family member that was well known and accomplished a lot. So for my dad, obviously he accomplished a lot, and that growing up for me and what he's accomplished helped make things for me and my family, easier. We're able to do some things which I really appreciate, and those are some great positives. The negatives for me was the constant comparisons and growing up and constantly feeling like you weren't good enough. And and I did really struggle with that growing up. When I got into high school, and I think I got to my junior year, and I started to play better, but um, I started to let things weigh on me more about what other people thought, and comparing to what my dad did at the peak of his career compared to me being 15, 16 years old. And it does take a toll on that because um, it's and that's the thing that I was talking about with just the negatives with it. I love my family, but I don't want to hear about that I'm not as good as my dad, or I didn't do this or do that. And because at the same time, again, I'm just trying to be me. And again, at the time I didn't know how to deal with that. And I got into a point now, and really it's kind of, maybe it was that whole reset leaving the Nationals too, and getting to the Orioles, where I really kind of felt like I sunk down and didn't know if I was going to play baseball anymore. And I really changed my mindset and frame of thinking, um, to just there's so many things in life that can be stressful and frustrating, but for what you like to do and what you love, go out and enjoy it. So that year when I signed, I said, I'm not going to let anything try to bother me. I'm not going to try to worry about, that I'm Cal's son, that how I play. I'm just going to cherish each moment that I have and take it game by game. And I think that was really kind of what got me got me going. So, um, I, like I said, love the family, love everything with them, but it is hard when you're a teenager and you're trying to find yourself. Being a teenager is hard enough, right? Like it's hard enough trying to figure out things and figure out high school and figure out sometimes we're going to go to college or what's next or all that stuff. So, I'm, yeah, that's all I got on that.
All right. All right, so I want to move to you playing in Frederick. So was it like getting to play in a community like Frederick where everybody around makes you feel like you're a part of that community?
I love Frederick. It was a really great time for me, and like I said, that I never spent, even being a Maryland resident, living outside of Baltimore, I didn't spend much time in Frederick though. So being able to come up there and play, each day was a lot of fun. And you're right, the people in the community were awesome and are awesome. That they made you feel really welcome, and I always felt comfortable being up there. And also, just if you're exploring Frederick, it's a cool town too. So I really love my whole experience there. Um, and I'm really, really grateful for it.
I, so, real quick though, what is it like being in the Orioles organization, and then also a little bit with the Nationals organization? Because I know you spent some time in Hagerstown. What's it like being in a part of two organizations that are so close to home, and you basically get to sleep in your own bed at night?
Yeah, that is really nice. So, when I was in Hagerstown, I stayed with the host family, and I had an unbelievable host family. They are awesome, great people. Um, when I came to the Orioles, though, some of the places were a little bit closer than Hagerstown. So Frederick's even closer than Hagerstown. So I played in Aberdeen, Frederick, and then Bowie, and all of them were within an hour or hour or so or hour or less from my home. So I did commute each day. And sometimes the drive each day could, sometimes be a little bit longer than you'd want it to be. But man, to sleep in your own bed, it was such a rare opportunity, especially in the minors. So many guys are displaced, and we have guys coming from the West Coast or from different countries, and they're away from their families for so long. And I had the luxury of being able to sleep at home, so that was really cool. And if I'm in Bowie this year, I'll do the same thing. But if I go to Norfolk, I'll have to. It's a little bit too far to drive. I think it's like 3.5, 4 hours each day. Um, but it's really cool, and I had family get to come to more games, so it was just a really, really cool experience.
So what's it like that being able to bring family and friends to games well, so often? And is there a little bit pressure when you are playing in front of friends?
Initially, it was, especially before I was, playing more, locally. Um, when you had friends or family come see you, it wouldn't be for every game. So you always felt, oh, I want to play a little bit better for them, put on a show. And usually, I felt like I played worse every time I said I'm going to play better, or hey, they're here, let me try to show off. Never goes well. So I got more comfortable with it and just being myself, and it was just cool to kind of share some moments. Um, when I got promoted from Frederick to Bowie, that after the game, my dad was there. He's at the game, so being able for him to be at that game and talk to him after, that was cool. Um, then playing the playoffs with Bowie, in September, and to being able to have family come and watch that, was really great. So it was just cool to have your family and loved ones be able to experience these moments with you, because the whole thing is great, but at the end of the day, the experiences you have with your teammates and your family, like those are the memories and things that you remember the most.
So speaking of that real quick, was like with Cal having so much success in his career, was it like having him be so humble, like still supporting you when he could be out still with his team in Aberdeen, or could be doing something with the Orioles? Was it like seeing him be so humble like that?
Well, it's I grew up with my dad being dedicated to the game, and he still is dedicated to the game deep down, but that was part of his job. He had to travel. That was what he had to do. I think the thing that I really appreciated with him is he lives closer to Bowie, and for him to be able to come and watch those games and be there, and for us to just talk. And it was more even bigger than because he loves baseball. It was just cool because he's my dad. So I loved that I could have my dad come to my game. And he is a humble guy, but more importantly, it was just cool to have those father son moments. And then after, yeah, we can talk baseball and whatnot, but it was just it's a nice thing when he's able to come, and he did get to come to a lot of games. So it was really cool, and I loved having him there.
All right, so I want to move back to the topic of playing in Frederick. Was it like when you come out of the locker room, you see so many people on the concourse, and then so many people on the sides of the stairwells wanting a picture, wanting an autograph, no matter who the player is. What is it like seeing that?
You know, it was cool. So Frederick, because of it, you know, it's different than other stadiums where usually you're walking underneath into the dugout or you're coming down from the sides by the bullpen or something. And Frederick, yeah, you're literally walking through the concourse, and it's such a unique experience. But it's cool. I love to see one. I love that people, anyone that wants to come out and support us and be there, you know, we really appreciate it because the fans make the experience even better for us. So if they want to come out and show some support, you know, we want to. If they want a picture and a photo, yeah, I'd be glad to sit there and talk to them and thank them for coming to be a part of it. Because you know, think with all this stuff with COVID, right? We're watching sports, and it's great to see sports playing, but a lot of players, even watching and even like seeing the football season just end up, how different it is without having fans there, and how much of an impact that it is having people there and seeing people, you know, out there supporting you. So I love with Frederick, the people there, the people were awesome to me, and I hope I could try to give back a little bit to them what they gave to me.
So, what is it like playing in the Carolina League when you had the travel, like going from all the way up here to like somewhere like Myrtle Beach, like somewhere that's kind of nice to hang out at? What is that travel like?
Carolina League really is one of the best travels I think you can have. You know, so it's Frederick. You know, I think the worst drives that we had for the most part were, you know, I think going to Myrtle Beach was the furthest one, and that might have been 6.5 or 7 hours or so. But most of them were, you know, going to Salem, Virginia, and Wilmington, Delaware, and you know, teams like that. You know, things were even Lynchburg, Virginia, things like that. You know, it was short trips. I've been on the other end, being in Delmarva in the South Atlantic League, where going to Rome, Georgia, uh, that's quite a hike. I think it was about a 13-hour bus ride. So 13-hour bus ride, and you're laying each and every way on the bus, laying on the floor, feet are up in the air, or you're sleeping against the window. Um, I prefer the shorter bus rides. I will say though, it's a lot of great fun to just spend more time with the guys on those trips. But the Carolina League was a blast. It was just really cool to see certain places. I think minor leagues in general, a lot of these places you go, you probably, you know, you're not going to usually go there on your own time. So to be able to experience some of these towns, and I'm a big food guy. I love food. So the Carolina League, going to these different places, provide a lot of cool spots to go to. And, you know, I try to find a good breakfast spot everywhere I went.
All right, so you did bring up food real quick, and you growing up in Maryland also. I'm putting you on the spot with this. What's your favorite Maryland food?
I mean, I think I got to go with steamed crabs. You know, I love crabs, crab cakes. I feel like I can't be a full Marylander then if I don't like the crabs, right? But that's been something that's definitely up there. It's nothing like for me, you know, growing up in the summertime and being able to sit outside, picnic table, maybe have a little barbecue, but you know, just have a bushel of crabs and you know, just eat your heart out. So I'm all about that. What about you? What's yours?
Um, it's hard to like pick one, but like first time we ever went to Aberdeen, like it's kind of, like some of the stuff there is different, like crab mac and cheese, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anything with crab, really. I mean,
Yes.
one thing though, if somebody says,
Crab's great.
one thing though, if somebody says they're from Maryland and they hate Old Bay, I'm putting anything against them to try to say that they're not from Maryland.
Oh yeah, you know, that's usually when I meet people that aren't from Maryland and they say like, "Oh, so you love Old Bay?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's great." You know, I don't, you know, it's um I'm with you on that. I love Old Bay. You know, I remember when I first discovered like having Old Bay on wings and on fries. whenever that was first introduced to me, I was obsessed and I couldn't have enough of it at the time. Now, backed off a little bit. But still, you can never go wrong putting Old Bay on a lot of things.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever put Old Bay on?
Weirdest thing. That's really putting me on the spot. I don't think it's that weird. I mean, I've had it on eggs. I think I'd prefer hot sauce still to Old Bay, but yeah, I don't think I've gotten too crazy. I know some people that I have a friend that if he just has a bad taste or he needs to kind of reset, he'll just pour some Old Bay on his hand and then just lick it up or something like that. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'd do that all the time, but whatever works for you. Yeah. What about you?
Have you
done
had?
any? Go ahead.
I mean, scrambled eggs. I've done that, but have you had the chance to try the new Old Bay hot sauce that they came out with?
I have. That's pretty good. What do you think of it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, anytime I would get chicken from somewhere, I always put it on, and I'm like, oh, it just combines both worlds.
It's really good. I will say, I think I'm still more of a traditional hot sauce guy for my eggs, but I think if I explored more with any type of barbecue or just grilled chicken, whatever it is, I think that the Old Bay hot sauce would be a good go-to. But for right now, I think I think in my cabinet right now it's Cholula, just regular Cholula. That's doing the trick right now, at least.
So going to so many minor league places, what's the weirdest thing either on social media or in person that you've seen somewhere that team has on their menu?
On their menu. So you mean just in at any restaurant or at the field?
Like at the stadium, or like if you see something from them on social media or something.
Weirdest thing. I gotta think about that one. I will say.
I'll give you one real quick.
Yeah, give me one.
So a couple years back, there's one post, and it's from the Erie Seawolves, and they came out with this hot dog that is in a cotton candy sprinkle bun.
Oh. I don't think I could have that. That is that. Yeah, I don't think I've seen something like that before at a place. Oh my goodness, but that doesn't sound good, does it? No, am I wrong with that? Does that sound good?
No, not at all. You're right. That does not sound good.
Yeah, I can't say I can't. I can't think off the top of my head of some weird things. Especially playing and whatnot. I guess when I'm there playing, I try not to think about it too much. Just trying to focus on playing. I mean, some weird things happen at the stadium, but and some of the promotions that they run, when they have the on-field staff and they're doing whatever antics on the field. Now that's sometimes things can be a little weird there, but entertaining. Each place seems to have their own entertainment.
What's the weirdest on-field promotion or entertainment like that you've seen?
Weirdest on-field promotion. Well, I'll start with a good promotion, it was distracting because I love dogs. But every time they had a bat dog and the dog would run out and grab the bat, and sometimes he would go rogue and just take the bat somewhere else or hang out. But we're like, oh, he's such a good boy, oh, it's so great. I'm like, okay, wait, I'm on deck. I need to focus that I'm going up to hit now. I always get a kick out of not necessarily that it's weird, but I always love or laugh when they get the costume races, or guy that gets up in a hot dog costume. I remember one guy got in the hot dog costume and was very energetic, maybe too energetic, and he's trying to chuck these dogs to the top row. But then he threw it too
I think
far.
that's for the Keys game thing.
Yeah,
I think
the
that's the
Keys do
flying
that.
dog hot dog lunch at the Keys.
I love that. There was one I think where they do like ones. Oh, I thought of one. It's not necessarily weird, but it makes me laugh every time. Is on the road when they have or I think it might even be at home when you have to build the sandwich or build a burger or something like that.
Oh, they did
So
that at the
one,
Keys too.
yeah. So they did it some other places. I love those where you have to stack, and then the last, they're throwing the burger, the tomato, the cheese, and then the other person's the top of the bun, and then they just sandwich them. I think that's great, and I love when people get in the sumo costumes, or like those big balls, the plastic
The
balls.
Azor balls.
Oh yeah, I saw one guy, and it felt one guy that maybe was, say 5'5", and another person that is 6'5" and at least twice the weight, and they're going at it with those like bumper balls or whatnot, and oh my god, he went flying. So that that's not necessarily weird, but I will say, I really do appreciate the on-field content. You try to stay focused, but I will say, if things are going bad or you're mad, sometimes when you look up and you see something happen, it can put a smile on your face. So I'm a big fan of those.
If he ever makes it to the big leagues and you got a mascot like the Fanatic or the Astros mascot that just absolutely like do everything possible just to make fun and also distract guys while they're warming up, what would be your reaction to that if they did that to you?
I'd definitely probably be playful with it. I'd encourage it. I guess I have to see in the moment what I'd specifically do. It depends on what he's doing to me. But it's all in good fun. I love those interactions. I think it's great. It's great for everyone, and usually there's a lot of funny things that come out of it. Now, there's still some wrong times when to do it, but if it's before the game or there's some funny things during it, I'm all for it. I think it's another great thing to bring some joy to some people.
I think that's kind of like this is kind of like one of the weirdest memories, like the Expos mascot getting ejected for walking on top of the visiting team's dugout. You think that's one of the funniest, but yet weirdest
Yeah.
memories of a mascot, probably.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's definitely one of them. I remember the Fanatic too. I think it was the Fanatic. Uh, got kicked out, or the one of the coaches for the Dodgers or whatever. It might be the late great Tommy Lasorda. I'm not positive that the Fanatic was giving it to him too much, and then I think they ended up kicking the mascot out. All right, got him removed. So like that stuff's pretty funny. And I don't know why, just maybe because the expressions of the mascots that make it even funnier. Um, so it was it, there's so many great moments. It makes me want to, after we get off this, go and just Google, greatest mascot moments in baseball history. Um, that'd be cool.
All right. So I want to move back to the Keys topic and kind of like a little bit serious topic of that.
Mhm.
So was it like seeing the Keys no longer being an affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles?
Yeah, it made me sad. And unfortunately, that's how things go with the business. But um, I wish that they were affiliated still with a team, and I wish it could be with the Orioles as well. But that's how things go, because I think that the town deserves that, and they love it. And I hope in the future, maybe that maybe down the road they can reattach with a major league organization in the future, because in the summertime in Frederick playing there, especially on the weekends, it was a really great atmosphere. So I really hope that people and fans can get that opportunity. It's it was one of the more enjoyable times I've really had as a professional athlete being up there.
I mean, like, kind of speaking of that real quick, like, they would have packed crowds every weekend. Friday, fireworks, packed crowd. Saturday, fireworks, packed crowd. Sunday, everybody just wants to go watch a baseball game for a Sunday afternoon, like kind of like anybody else would. It's a packed crowd. And then so many teams probably wouldn't see so many people there. But then the Keys, it's almost every night it's packed, no matter what day of the week it is.
Yeah, and I think the bigger thing for me, it's fun to play when there's more fans in the stands, right? But I love that Frederick had a great family oriented feeling there. And you could go there for a lot of different things. If you wanted to go with just friends and to go hang out, if you wanted to bring your family and have the kids come around and watch a ball game, there was there was a lot of different ways to go and enjoy a baseball game there. And Frederick definitely gave that feel and that was really cool to see and to be a part of. So even if it wasn't fully crowded that day, felt like every time we played, there was someone coming there and I was interacting with that just was happy to be there, and whatever reason that was really cool. And I think that's the thing that I really admire and cherish with sports. Of it's just bigger than the actual game. There's memories and moments that you can make with your family, your loved ones, and for me, it's the interactions with my teammates and coaches on a day-to-day basis, and then also you can meet some really great people and great fans and people that come to watch you and hear their stories.
So how great of a feeling is it for you? Like, so I know many people have issues with tossing baseballs into the crowd, but I know you didn't. And how great of a feeling is it when you give a baseball to a little kid or toss it to a little kid, and they just hold on to that? They're so excited about it, and they just keep coming back to the sport. How great of a feeling is for you that knowing that you made a kid's day while you're still playing?
It's cool. I think that sometimes I worry because so many people sometimes ask for a ball, ball, and then when you don't give it to someone, you feel bad. But there's only so many times you can give it to somebody. How do you pick? Sometimes you throw it up there and try to go, or sometimes you see someone you try to make more of an effort. But growing up, we all have those moments where you have someone give you something or do something that makes you remember it. And I hope that someone has a opinion or reflection. Maybe they think that when they're older of, I got a ball from a game here, it made me love it, or I got a bat, or I got, a picture, or you're just having a conversation. I think that's the bigger thing. If I love hearing stories of people after an event happened and say it's a few games later or a week later. I've had people that even I got pictures with or gave stuff to in prior seasons, and they followed me, and they came to like, hey, we were following your career, and they say they weren't even from Frederick, but they came to Frederick to watch me play there, whether I was with Delmarva or with the Nationals or whatever. And that was really special to me. And then they even talked to me about how I had a couple of some would just be individuals and some were families that would do that. And it was really cool. It made me feel good that I was just trying to be myself, and I'm glad that they enjoyed it. It was I really appreciated hearing that.
All right, so I want to move to 2019 and 2020 season topic at the same time. So how much did being a part of the Bowie Bay Sox 2019 Easter League playoff run hype you up to get ready for the 2020 season at the time?
It was really exciting. For me, I was motivated going into 20, getting ready in the off season after. It motivated you more to just want to, once you're at a higher level too, and being in Double A and being in that level and that atmosphere, it was fun. And I was ready to continue to continue to get better and build off of what we accomplished collectively, and then individually what I was going to work on. And winning's hard, right? Winning's really hard, and I know they say is until you get to the major leagues, that's when when the things really matter. Trying to win the World Series, trying to win your division there. But my mindset growing up, if I have any chance to be a part of something and to win something at any level, I never take that for granted, because I won 2 championships in high school, one for basketball and one for basketball and baseball were 2. But that's twice, and then I've been in professional baseball, and I hadn't won or clinched a division or anything since I joined in 2014. So to be there and to be a part of it, it just really a fun experience, and winning's fun, and to celebrate's even more fun. So it stunk to lose in the championship, but it was a great run, a lot of fun, and it definitely made me excited to get ready to play for the next year.
How great was it though seeing a team like the Washington Nationals, an organization you're part of, end up winning the World Series that year, and going from being so terrible to start the year to then winning it? What does that show about that organization? And what does it kind of show everybody that nothing is impossible in this sport?
No, that's the thing. Nothing is impossible in the sport. The Nationals have a lot of great high character guys and people in that organization. They work hard. They expect excellence, but they know there's going to be a tough road. And so that year was really cool for them to see, and knowing even some guys in that organization, seeing them overcome their adversity. And I think that's just a great lesson for everybody to see how things were going so wrong for 2 months for them to right the ship and do what they did down the stretch for the last 100+ games leading into the postseason. Then any sports are very special for a lot of reasons, because sometimes you just really can't make things up. And for them to turn it around, it's a testament to their hard work and their unwillingness to quit. They're unwilling to quit on the situation. So I think it's just a lot of great lessons learned, and at the end of the day, great experience for all Nats fans and that organization. It was really awesome to see for them.
All right, so speaking of the Nationals winning the World Series that year, and it was against the Astros, everybody knows what happened with the Astros, all the cheating and stuff. Does that just show also how much better the Nationals are, how much more strategic they are, knowing that they were able to get past all that?
Well, and there's certain things and a lot of people can view with what happens with the Astros, but I think the bigger part for the Nats really is just that they're going to work each and every day. And I think in that series, I don't think the home team won a game in the World Series. So that's so rare. But also to go on the road and win a Game 7 of a World Series, is very impressive. And for them, though, they, that's my thing. Is just the guys. It seems like those guys in that organization, they just worked really hard. They kept to it. They didn't get too high. They didn't get too low. And in the biggest moments, they stayed calm, and then they made some big plays. So it's really a testament, to them on a great ending to their season.
So speaking of the Astros, so everybody goes into spring training. Everybody knows that the Astros are going to be the main attention from the media. Is it kind of a good feeling knowing that you and the organization's going in and not having that attention on you?
Yeah, I think with the Orioles are building something great right now. I think that it's going to take time, and I think with everything, when you're playing without a lot of pressure, it's a lot easier to go out and play. When you have less expectations, there's less that people think you're going to do or going to accomplish. Now, I give the Astros a lot of props, especially last year. all scrutiny's on them, and they still find a way to get to, the ALCS and have a chance to go to the World Series. So for them, they battled back. But say a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, there's expectations for them somewhat to be a competitive team, but to win the AL East and have the run that they had, no, it was really for them playing with house money. They just worked hard, and as the season went going, as it got going, pressure built. But you know, no expectations for teams can be the most dangerous teams.
So I'm just kind of curious, real quick. What is your opinion about the Astros and then cheating for the past couple of years?
I there's a lot of things that a lot of things out there that you see and you hear, and unfortunately, you hate to see anything getting dragged out because it just doesn't look good for the game. I think a lot of people, especially if they have any reservations about baseball, that can drive them the other way too. So I think that negativity on the sport wasn't good, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating to the other teams that were involved. I think with like the Dodgers and the Red Sox that they feel more upset, and I understand why. So I think just in general, it's just hard to see in the sport, such a negative thing to have an impact like that. It's not what you want to see, but it seems hopefully moving forward, we can, everything's moved past it. And just like last year, we had a great World Series between the Rays and the Dodgers. So hopefully the focus can be back to just the accomplishments of these teams and having some great things come out of that.
All right. So after during spring training, notifications start coming in like COVID is now in the U.S. The Rudy Gobert on the Utah Jazz gets it. The NBA then decides to shut down that night, and then next day you guys are next. What was it like seeing those notifications come through? And then also, what was it like for you when the MLB was shut down?
It was crazy. It just kind of it felt, it felt very surreal, and it also didn't feel that it didn't seem believable. So being down in spring training and we were going out to practice, and then the things go on the phones. Big league camp is officially suspended, and then we hear that for we're out practicing still, going like, huh, what's going on? And then next day, later that day, then we're suspended, then we're waiting hearing, and then all of a sudden everything's put on hold. And again, it just sometimes, even looking back at it, it just doesn't feel like it was real. Because there's such a, you never experienced anything like that. So it was definitely, I don't know what felt weirder, is just that they were shutting down spring training or then being home during a spring and summer not playing baseball. So those two things were really, really strange. And I'm just hoping for 2021 that things can be contained and we can try to get back to as much normalcy as possible. It might never be like it was before, but that just being hopeful that we can to get back to doing things on a day-to-day basis.
So, what is it like though? Like a little bit through the pandemic, seeing so much disagreement between the Players Association and the MLB, and then also bring up the potential for a strike. What does that feel like? Being a minor league player, seeing all of that disagreements going on.
Things are just out. All that stuff's out of our control. You just hope for the fans and for everyone involved that there can just be an agreement and everyone can walk away happy. And that's the part of the business side that is hard and that it's complex. So, both sides have their reasonings for why they want to do it. And, especially for the Players Association, completely understand where they're coming from. And also from the business side for the MLB, they have their own reasons as well. So it's hard, but unfortunately, that's just a part of it, and that's out of our control. And again, it's something that's out of your control, but all you can do is just be prepared and do what you can do, and hopefully for everyone's case, everything gets settled, and we have a new collective bargaining agreement for future years.
So I just thought of this real quick. So with 2020, so many teams losing money, not being able to pay for so many guys, was it like seeing people that you've played with, like Joe Mares, Preston Palmeiro, Sean Miller, so many guys end up getting cut? Was it like seeing so many friends getting cut due to the budget issues?
Yeah, it was hard. And it's just sad, and especially being someone that's gone through it myself with the Nationals. Being let go is never a good feeling, and all those guys they're good guys. They're good players, but they're better guys. So it's hard. So I really felt for them, and then that's the business part that we really don't like, and knowing that it can be any of us at any time. So that was the hard thing. But the reality is that the organization had to make decisions, and I can speak from experience because the Nationals had to do that with me. They came to a decision, and I understand that, and then it didn't make it easier, but you can come to more terms with it. But enjoyed the times with them, and thankful and grateful that you got to spend those times with them.
You think with that in the year 2020, it's kind of a big example of play as hard as you can, but also have fun with those memories, have fun with your friends, because you never know when it's going to be taken away.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of went back when I mentioned before about when I got let go, and resetting my mind, and then really just trying to cherish the moment. But that's just like with a lot of things in life. We get caught up in the past or the future, and we sometimes lose control of being in the present. And I believe, especially that holds true with baseball, our career only lasts so long, and even whatever level you're playing at, if it's T-ball, rec ball, travel ball, college, high school, pro ball, there's only so much time that you have playing. And then you look back, I had a coach when I was a freshman in high school for basketball. So I made varsity as a freshman. He told me, he goes, you're going to blink and you're going to be graduating from here. And I'm like, man, I haven't even played a game yet. And it was crazy. The 4 years flew by just like that. And it was crazy to see how that was. So with baseball, it's the same concept though, trying to think and really appreciate the guys. And unfortunately too, all of our teammates, not all of us see each other in the off season, and most times you don't. So, if your career is over, you might not see these guys either very little or ever again. And those are what makes the moments for sure. So enjoy the people you're around and enjoy the experience, because, even if you have the greatest career of all time, you can't play until you're 100. You're lucky if you can play to your 40. So, yeah.
So speaking of that real quick, what do you think that says about guys like Bartolo Colon in this sport, or in the NFL, Tom Brady, but those guys still being as old as they are, performing at the highest level of their sports? What does that say about those guys?
Well, I think Bartolo and Tom Brady are a little bit different of maybe things that they're doing, but still impressive nonetheless. What Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl, and looking at it, he's won four Super Bowls after turning 37. And in football, you never hear of that, and he's been at the front of leading those teams. And Bartolo, to be able to keep your arm in shape and to do that is impressive, you know. So it's a really a testament to the dedication of the athletes there. Um, and it goes more than just preparing, you know, for your baseball skills. It's lifestyles too. And, you know, following Tom Brady specifically, you know, he really spends a ton of time and investment into his health. So you really appreciate those the dedication from those guys. And some guys can just be, you know, physical freaks that can just outlast time. So it's you know, really got to appreciate those guys, because a lot of people would love to be able to play that long.
All right. So I want to move to the topic of the 2021 year. So first off, what goals do you have set out for the 2021 season?
You know, get to the season would be number one, and honestly, just continue to build. Personally, just continue to build and becoming a more consistent baseball player. You know, across the board, continuing to build how I felt hitting, be a better fielder, and, you know, how can I continue to get better, and the ultimate goal is how can I be better and be able to help the major league team, you know, that. But that process is going to be day by day. It's just going through the grind, not trying to do anything crazy, but continue with the process.
And then also having so much time away from the sport and then seeing so many of these big deals strike lately. How much from a player side does these deals happening make you hyped up for the season to start?
um you know, it's exciting, but for me, you know, I didn't need any things to pop up to be excited. You know, I love to play. I'm ready to go, and you know, I'm determined. You know, so that's all the motivation I need to get ready. So, um, you know, that's just want to go out there and you know, be on the field again with the guys.
All right. So one more 2020 question. So through the struggles of 2020, what have you been able to learn about yourself or learn about what's going on physically and mentally?
Um, I think learning with myself in 2020 is just working on perseverance, as far as or holding yourself accountable. You know, there's a lot of times, especially with this, things are so shut down. But how could I continue to get better? How can I continue to work on things? So I continued that. I tried to work really hard and keep my training going, and try to, you know, right now I feel one of the best I've ever felt in my life from a fitness standpoint. Um, so constantly, and again, like owing it to myself to put my best foot forward. So I think that was a big thing for me, was staying accountable, and even when things felt weird and things felt down with how 2020 was, continuing to set your goals, set what you want, focus on what you want. You know, just because things aren't going the way in the world or in your life doesn't mean that things can't change. So that was my biggest thing to take away. And um, you know, hopefully that, you know, 2021 is a better year as far as for as the COVID goes. But each and every year, I'm going to try to keep that same accountability.
All right. So last question I got for you after this podcast, and then also after whenever the day comes that your career is over, what do you hope people can remember yourself as?
You know, I think at the end of the day, I want to be known. First, I want to be known as, you know, I want to be known for Ryan, like I've said before, and I just want to be someone that is known for that they work hard, and he put all that he can out there and try to get better. And, you know, how everyone wants to view me, you know, that can be their own interpretation. But um, I just want to focus on how I can try to be the best guy I can be, best teammate I can be, you know, family member, best boyfriend, best, you know, friend, whatever I need to be. Um, do that and continue to work on myself. And I'll let the chips fall where they may. And however that is, I live with that, but, do what I can control, and then everything else will play itself out.
All right. All right. That's great. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
And I'm proud, man. I hope to see you back sometime soon in 2021.
Me too. Let's hope for a 2021 season.
And the first Bowie Bay Sox or whatever game that everybody from the Keys was at, gonna be right at it.
All right, deal. I'll see you there.
All right, see you, man. Hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you.